The Central Asian Report is a program about the ongoing geopolitical trends and the panorama of the present-day realities in Central Asia.
Politics, economics and culture, events, trends and people. All this on one territory. Hello, you're watching the Central Asian Report in today's program. Credit rating. Which country in Central Asia gets loans more often? Well-deserved. Accessible housing in Moscow for labor migrants. Learning the state language in Kazakhstan. And coming right up, headlines from Central Asia. In Turkmenistan, a state program for the establishment of enterprises for the production of various types of electronic equipment was approved. Its plans include organizing a cross-country network of small enterprises for the production of electric meters, LED lamps, electronic screens, as well as equipment for converting solar energy into electricity. The adopted program is one of the measures for increasing the share of the industry in Turkmenistan's economy. In Uzbekistan's capital city of Tashkent, public transport will be equipped with free wireless internet. Wi-Fi routers are already operating as part of a trial run on one of the bus routes. By the end of 2016, access to the World Wide Web will be available to passengers of the majority of buses in Tashkent. What's more, it will be 4G internet. It has not yet been announced how much the introduction of the service into the city's transport infrastructure will cost. Kyrgyzstan has fully repaid its debt to Kazakhstan for the supply and unsanctioned siphoning of natural gas during the period from 2004 to 2014. The amount of the debt, $41.6 million. The company Gazprom Kyrgyzstan, which was formed as a result of the purchase of 100% shares of Kyrgyzgas by the Russian giant, took upon itself the repayment of this debt. Countries have rich histories, including credit histories. Over the years of their independence, the countries of Central Asia were active in attracting foreign loans. Kyrgyzstan alone received more than $7.5 billion from foreign financial institutions. And nevertheless, the credit rating of the countries of Central Asia overall is evaluated as average. Our correspondent brings us the report on how this assessment is formed and its consequences. Not all countries can afford to take out loans. The amount of the loan, the interest rate, and the possibility itself of getting credit all depend on the country's credit rating. The credit rating is evaluated by independent rating agencies. Mostly this is a monopoly of 3 large agencies, and they're also called the Big Three. They are all based in the United States. Overall, these agencies do not reveal the details and methodology of their evaluation. Thus, to a great degree, they use subjective criteria. Today, only 2 countries in Central Asia have been given a credit rating, Kyrgyzstan and Kazakhstan. What's more, Kazakhstan was the first to receive a credit score, not only among the countries of Central Asia, but also of all the countries of the post-Soviet space. This happened in 2004. In 2011, the country received its highest credit score. At the moment, Kazakhstan's credit score is BBB, as assessed by Standard & Poor's, perhaps the leading agency. BBB also from the Fitch agency. This is not a very high score, but for now it's not that low. Of course, all this is quite subjective, but a certain level, which determines the investment rating of so-called growth and junk loans, even though this is not official yet, is a BB+ level.
Инвестиционные рейтинги от так называемых там бросовых или мусорных еще называют, хотя на самом деле такого понятия нет, это вот уровень BB+.
It must be mentioned that countries with even a very low investment rating can receive loans from international organizations. But the lower the rating, the higher the interest rate, and vice versa. As a rule, large financial organizations such as the World Bank, Asian Development Bank, Islamic Bank, and the European Bank for Reconstruction and Development provide credit to Central Asian countries. The main projects for which these organizations provided loans are construction of large infrastructural projects, support of certain sectors of the economy, and realization of anti-crisis programs. Kyrgyzstan's credit history, in comparison with Kazakhstan, is not that mature. In 2015, Moody's assessed Kyrgyzstan's investment rating for the very first time as B2. This is lower than Kazakhstan's score, but higher than that of Venezuela, Egypt, and Belarus. Perhaps it makes sense to get 2 more ratings from the Russian RA Expert and China's Daegong Global Rating. then the rating will be relatively more objective, because the big three credit agencies are often accused of political bias. Over the years of its independence, Kyrgyzstan received more than $7.5 billion in the forms of grants and credits. Out of the entire volume of received loans, 28% were invested by Kyrgyzstan into the development of its transport infrastructure, 22% into the energy sector, and 11% into agriculture. In the midterm perspective, experts forecast a lowering of Kyrgyzstan's as well as Kazakhstan's ratings. This is connected with the fall in the price of oil and a slowdown in the growth tempos of the economies of Russia and China, on which the countries of Central Asia strongly depend.
Жить стало лучше, жить стало...
Housing has become better, housing has become more accessible. 15,000 labor migrants from Central Asia, who temporarily reside in Russia's capital, have received a response to their long-standing housing question. Our correspondent in Minsk found out for whom and where it is better to live in Russia.
Корреспондент в Москве.
Furniture, household appliances, and even free wireless internet. In this room, everything is ready for the moving in of its new residents, labor migrants. In the last 15 years, this hotel network hosted more than 6 million guests from Moscow and the Moscow region. This hotel chain cooperates with the All-Russian Congress of Uzbeks, the Congress of Diasporas of Moldova, and now also with the Representative Office of Labor and Migration of the Republic of Tajikistan in Russia. Concluded agreements with the official representatives of other countries allow us to provide our guests, labor migrants, with accurate information, legal protection, as well as good quality assistance in the filing of migration documents. We're jointly conducting mass cultural events, informational and educational seminars. Lev Yashin, who is a citizen of Uzbekistan, during his 10 years in Moscow, worked as a construction worker, freight loader, courier, and a postman. His wage amounts to 13,000 rubles per month. Before, a large share of this amount went towards the payment for housing, but after moving here, the man was able to decrease his expenses twofold. These are great expenses, 5,000, 4,000 rubles. For me, this is a lot. This takes away from my leisure, my food. Another resident of this hotel is Timur Shirbutayev. He came to Moscow from Tajikistan just 2 months ago. Back home, after graduating from college, he worked as an office manager at a bank. Now he works in a large fast food chain, teaching new personnel. He found out about this residential complex from his compatriots. All one needs to get a place here is a passport. I came and the registration was done right away, and I still live in this hotel. When you have less money, it is possible to pay on a day-to-day basis. But if you pay for a month ahead, it is cheaper. For 1 month, it is 6,500 rubles, and per day it is 285 rubles. There were times when I did not have money, and that's how I paid. Today, 10 million people from other countries live and work in Russia. Out of them, 1.8 million are citizens of Uzbekistan and 900,000 from Tajikistan. Majority of them have professional qualifications. They're engaged in the spheres of construction, services, and seasonal work. The rent in the Russian capital, even in bedroom districts, is at times higher than the monthly earnings of these workers. Cooperation with the hotel complex is one of the measures introduced by the government of Tajikistan for the creation of favorable conditions for the legal and comfortable stay of their citizens in Russia.
Поскольку городские отели предоставляют очень хорошие условия при минимальных расходах, мы решили сотрудничать и провести...
Because city hotels offer very good conditions for minimum costs, we decided to cooperate and provide migrants with information in order for them to be able to find housing for reasonable prices and which fulfill the necessary conditions. Another very important aspect is that the registration process is done in the hotel. Foreign citizens can register for the period of their residence right in the hotel. If a migrant rents out a place, not every landlord agrees to register the foreign citizen in their apartment, and this is considered to be a violation of the law.
Гостиницы, они делают регистрацию прямо у себя. На срок проживания иностранного гражданина гостиницы регистрируют. Вот, например, если мигрант снимает квартиру, не каждый арендодатель соглашается зарегистрировать, например, иностранного гражданина у себя. А это чревато правонарушением.
Official representatives of Tajik authorities hope for the expansion of cooperation with Russian companies in the sphere of accessible housing. What's more, this partnership is being established on mutually beneficial conditions. Foreign citizens receive comfortable housing and Russian enterprises a stable flow of clients. By 2020, 95% of Kazakhstan's citizens will be able to speak the Kazakh language. This is the expert forecast. But for now, for a third of the country's 17 million citizens, this language barrier remains insurpassable. We spent the entire last week looking for the most accessible ways for all to speak one common language and have compiled a number of the most curious methods. Details in our next story.
Подробности в следующем сюжете.
Тақырыпқа байланысты. Жұмысыңыз қиын ба, ауыр ма, жеңіл ме деген сөз тіркесін сөйлемді пайдалануға болады. Кім болып жұмыс істейсіз, мамандығыңыз, тілді білу деңгейіңіз деген сөздерді сұхбаттарыңызда қолдануларыңызға болады.
Samal Atagaeva is getting ready for the new school year, and at the Center of Free Kazakh Language Courses, it begins not in September, but in March. And the students here are no longer children. Free Kazakh language courses under the auspices of the mayor's office are intended for public servants who work in local executive bodies, as well as for the city's residents. Also for certain social groups, pensioners, people with disabilities, and the unemployed. They all receive free courses. Annually, more than 700 people take courses at the center. The educational program is divided into 3 levels. Completion of each level requires at least 8 months. What's more, the speed of learning mostly depends on the students themselves. We know of concrete students who, as a result of taking this course, began speaking, even if in the beginning they could not even write in the Kazakh language. Those who do very well with self-discipline but do not have the time to attend classes can learn the Kazakh language at a distance, for example by using online resources.
Онлайн-курс казахского языка söyle.kz.
We started the online söyle.kz course in December of 2013. Over these 2 years, our site was visited by people not only from Kazakhstan. Around 500,000 users from all over the world accessed it. To this day, more than 36,000 of people have registered.
35 тысяч, свыше 35 тысяч человек зарегистрировались.
The list of users include the marketing specialist Anastasia. She studies every day, but during a time that is comfortable for her.
Қайырлы таң.
Қайырлы таң.
Қайырлы кеш.
Қайырлы кеш.
Сау болыңыз.
Сау болыңыз. Қош болыңыз.
The degree of acquired level of Kazakh language is evaluated by an objective electronic test, and if the results of this test are unsatisfactory, then one can try to pass it again. On average, after 1.5 months of daily lessons, students begin to understand conversational speech. In general, if the aim is to learn to speak Kazakh, then it makes sense to attend the speaking club. Meetings in an interesting format of conversations and discussions are held a couple of times a month. According to the author of this project, Bahirjan Bukhorbay, the language barrier can be overcome faster in a relaxed environment. We believe that everyone is able to speak Kazakh, just not everybody is aware of that. Everyone has a passive knowledge of about 300 words. This means that I will also be able to learn Kazakh? Yes, Nina, you will also be able to learn Kazakh. Send us your application and we'll take a look. These club meetings gather around 30 people. Many of them are foreign nationals. Just a couple of evenings spent in a friendly atmosphere, and the guests no longer communicate in different languages.
Саламатсыздар ма? Менің есімім Денис. Мен Калифорнияданмын. Алматыда 2-3 жылдай тұрам. Қазақ тілін үйреніп жатырмын. Ағылшын тілінен сабақ берем.
According to the informational portal egov.kz, today in Kazakhstan around 150 Kazakh language centers operate. More than half of them offer their courses for free. All the students have to do is choose a comfortable education format which suits them.
На этом все.
You are watching the Central Asian Report. Until next time on Kazakh TV.